everybody, it's Cerebral. Welcome back to another Pokemon video. Now I'm going to be previewing the 2024 World Championships for the Pokemon VGC. That is the video game version, currently being played in Scarlet and Violet of that game. Now, a little bit update for you all is for those that didn't know, Wolfglick did start the series 9-0. He was the only player to go undefeated through the first 9 rounds of the games. In fact, he didn't even drop a set. He was 18-0. And those head-to-head matches. Now, unfortunately, after that point of being 9-0 and being on stream, he unfortunately lost the last 3 games and got eliminated in the top cut. He did make top cut, but he got eliminated in the first part of the top cut for the play-on stage to get to the top 16 of that series. Well, instead, we will be watching Yuta Ishigaki and Luca Ceribelli, Japan versus Italy for that series. Let's dive into it, shall we? First and foremost, twitch.tv/CerebralGaming, 2M's Gaming, where I do stream a lot of my stuff live on, and youtube.com/CerebralGaming with the cutdown versions I'm getting to live, along with these kind of package videos that I do also as well. First and foremost, we're going to dive into how did we get here for these 2 players. First, we're going to look at Yuta from Japan. So first round, you're not going to see on the screen, he beat Unas Bakakakis. He went 2-6. On that round, and then Frank Mason and Javier Vilota. So pretty easy series. Those 3 players he played first were combined 5-16. So a little bit early in the early game there for them. Then they started playing all these. Better wins than losses. So Renzo, Nicolas, Audric, Skoda, and Florin. They were almost completely with all wins, losing in the 4th round there. Moving on to day 2, which was earlier today. Won the first 2 games, lost the 3rd game against Justin Knox. Now, Justin Knox was actually the last U.S. player that was knocked out later on in the series when they got to the top cut. Top cut fellow Japanese player Akiyama, again playing Justin Knox for the 2nd time. And then, I'm going to butcher this, but Yukisek Wang and Michael Kelich. That was a tough series against Michael Kelich. That could have gone either way there. Finishing the series at 13-2. Now, notice the resistance is at 77%, which means the players that they faced were a lot harder than their opponent's going to be for this coming matches. Looking over at Luca's side, Luca actually started with Ian McLaughlin from the U.S. They were the only ones that were... had more losses than wins. All the rest of the people they had to play against either had more wins than losses or tied split 4-4. However, since the records were much lower than what Yuta had to play during the day 2 Swiss stage there, because he did have 2 losses in the 30 versus Yang again, and then Nakata from Japan, he did get 2 losses in the day 1 Swiss. So he basically had to win out the rest of the entire day 1 and day 2, or to get into top cut and then finish off, because basically you had to have the entire series with only 2 losses. So if you got 3 losses, you were completely eliminated from the entire series of this tournament. All right, now we're going to dive into the there we go. I'm going to dive into the actual head-to-head matches of what the Pokemon they are going to be bringing. You'll see a little box on Ogerpon because where I pulled this off of, which I believe is VGC Pace. It did not have the picture of it, so I just stuck the picture right in where it's supposed to go. So over on, so Yuta is on the left. As Yuta's on the left side, left side of the screen is Yuta, right side is Lucas's 2 teams. So you have Landorus, the Choice Scarf, Urshifu Rapid Strike with Focus Sash, which has been pretty common for this entire game series. Urshifu, actually the #1 most used Pokemon entire series. Over 60% of all teams that were created for this event after day 2 had a Urshifu in it. Iron Valiant, well, you don't see many of those lately. That's with the booster energy. Pelipper with the Life Orb to bring extra damage. Among Us with the Rocky Helmet to counter any other Urshifu's counter strikes. So that when Urshifu counter strike, when Urshifu Rapid Strike rather, attacks with 3 times with the Surging Strikes, it's going to take 3 times damage with that Rocky Helmet. And also, finally, we have Calyrex Ice with a Clear Amulet, so not going to be able to put to sleep or any kind of status rules as well. It is rocking with the high horsepower variation of Calyrex. Over on... sorry, this is... Wait, Luca's on the left, actually. Or did I mess that up? Nope, Luca's on the right. My bad. One thing to note though is that they love Trick Room. Yuta says in a post that it was on Twitch, Twitter, that he loves Trick Room team. So, other thing to note is that lots and lots of wide guard. You have Pelipper with wide guard. You have Iron Valiant with a wide guard as well. So a lot of variations to try to get around to defend against mass AoE attacks. Fortunately, on the other side, for Luca's side, who's running a Miraidon team with Ogre Hearth Flame Mask with the Follow Me and Spike Shield. Urshipu Rapid Strike, of course, with the common setup for that, with the Focus Sash, with the Detect, Surge Strikes, Close Combat, and Walker Jet. Iron Hands to go with the Miraidon to get the Cork Drive online, running in the Assault Vest, so this is going to be very tanky Iron Hands for this. Low Kick has been a very popular and late-coming ability for the Iron Hands. It was very popular among the trainers throughout this entire competition. Definitely proved its worth throughout the thing. Whimsicott with the Prankster ability to try to get up the Tailwind, try to go faster. And then we also have the last but not least for Rigorath with the Trick Room, Helping Hands version with Psychic Noise version as well. Water type terrestrialization as well, which is kind of interesting. Electric Seed also is its item of holding, so that way when you get the Hydrant Engine for the Electric Terrain for the Miraidon, that will trigger the Electric Seed, boosting the Rigorath's abilities. One thing to note about this two different size matchup is that Yuta does not have a way to get rid of the Hydrant Engine electric field. That's going to be coming out into play. And vice versa, the Drizzle is going to be coming out from Pelipper. No way of getting rid of the rain. So definitely going to be having electric terrain, and rain is going to play a big factor on the actual what's going on in the field. Now, I think this matchup is going to favor Yuta specifically because of the Landorus right here. This Landorus being a ground-type Pokemon, and we can actually dive into that a little bit here. Let's bring back the Pokédex once again. Landorus being a ground flying-type Pokemon is going to be absorbing all of those electric-based attacks with not being taking any damage from those whatsoever. So that's going to be the big portion of this series, is what this Landorus will be doing against this Miraidon, and actually Iron Hands with the Wild Charge, and like that. Also, it can do extra damage against the Whimsicott, being the flying type, with its Sludge Bomb. Can swap out on its own with the U-Turn. Choice Scarf is actually going to increase its damage greatly. However, it's going to be stuck with whatever ability it has. So it can only do Earth Power to Miraidon or Sludge Bomb to Whimsicott. And then it'll have to swap out and do what else it wants to do after that. So be sure to watch this Landorus on what Yuta does with this Landorus. The rest of the team I think they're going to be playing with. Urshifu has again been the top. It's like been 60, I think it's like 64% of all teams has been using a Urshifu on the team, so be sure to see that. Iron Valiant will not see any play in this whatsoever, because it does have the booster energy. It doesn't matter if it gets electric terrain either as well, because the booster energy is going to increase its ability or whatever this best stat's going to be. Plus the wide guard, it's basically because of the wide guard. This is not going to block anything of wide guard on here. The only thing it would block is maybe Dazzling Gleam off the Miraidon, and you're not really going to see that because not much of this team is actually weak to Fairy type. So you're not going to see Iron Valiant whatsoever on this matchup. Definitely going to see Amoonguss. I do not see any ways of getting rid of the Spore effects, except for maybe the Prankster Whimsicott with the Covert Cloak. Excuse me, that could be put to sleep, but it's a grass type anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Plus, the electric terrain actually is going to prevent the things from sleeping, I believe. I think electric terrain. I think electric terrain. Let's see. I don't think it actually. I don't think you're able to put it to sleep. Yeah, it prevents grounded Pokemon from falling asleep. So it might not. So even though Among Us will not be able to put things to sleep, it might try to when Morido's not on the field. So I'm not sure if that's going to be put into this fight either. So definitely going to be seeing Landris, Yushifu, Calyrex Ice Rider is definitely going to be in there. It's just going to be who Yuta wants to use for the fourth Pokemon. It's going to either be Pelipper or Among Us in this fight. I guess it depends how much Yushifu is doing on Luca's side, on where it goes from there, because he wants the Among Us going against this Pelipper here, and yeah, I mean, it just depends on that. Plus, Pelipper is going to boost Yoshifu's attack with the Drizzle, so his Yoshifu's going to do a lot more damage, but also, I gotta be careful that Luca's Yoshifu is going to do a lot more damage as well. As for Luca's side, what he's going to use, Miraidon, you've got to take Miraidon because if you don't using your restricted Pokemon, because in this H-type series, you're only allowed one restricted Pokemon. It's Yuta's going to be Calyrex versus Luca's Miraidon. And obviously he's going to be taking his Iron Hands with a Quick Drive increase with Assault Vest for the protection. Calyrex is a strength. I was saying this is a physical damage base, A lot of stuff on Yuta's team is physical damage base, so focusing on armor is going to be the thing, whichever has the highest defense. Maybe. I guess it's going to be the thing. Probably going to bring Farigiraf to try and counter the Trick Room. So if Calyrex tries to Trick Room, Farigiraf will counter that Trick Room, maybe bring it back, maybe with a Tailwind. With the Whimsicott, try to control the speed. Ogerpon, not going to be too useful in this. Well, no, he could be useful because it's going to be good against Calyrex, good against Among Us. Not so good against Landris unless it doesn't terrestrialize, and then I think oh, he's Woodhammer, so maybe. So I think Ogerpon Hearthland is going to be a big thing. Luca has a lot more options to go with, though. He literally could take anything versus Yuta, who can't use Iron Valiant whatsoever. And really is limited between what you have to do, Pelipper or Among Us. Versus Luca, he can take anything, any one of these, and be happy with it. I'd probably bring the Miraidon, even though you have to get around the Landris. There's two things on Yuta's team that's weak to electric. A Pelipper and the Urshifu. The Urshifu is a water. The Pelipper is grass, interestingly enough. Among Us, one thing, though, is that Yuta's Among Us is fire, which means it can switch its immunity from being strong against water to weak against water. So that is something you have to watch for the Urshifu here, but it does have the Rocky Helmet to prevent any more extra damage from Urshifu, because Urshifu's going to do damage anyways, but he's going to get punished a lot for it. But Miraidon and Urshifu are probably going to be in for Luca. Iron Hands is probably going to be in there as well. The last spot is probably going to be a toss-up between Ogerpon, Whimsicott, and Farigiraf. I don't think you're going to leave Urshifu behind in this. Because of how much damage it can do. And Farigiraf, you're going to need the control from the speed between the Tailwind and the Trick Room. This team might be set slow on purpose for Yuta, so you might not want to bring the Whimsicott because you don't need the Tailwind after all. Moonblast is not going to really do much for you either. Encore would be the only interesting thing to possibly bring to lock Calyrex maybe into using Trick Room over and over again, which would be kind of funny actually if you could bring a Whimsicott in the field and lock Calyrex into just using Trick Room over and over again for multiple turns. That would be funny. Funny thing to do actually. But the Farigiraf with the counter Trick Room will probably be just as good though for that same purpose. So I don't see Ogerpon coming into this after all for the Wood Hammer. He might use it, I doubt it. So it looks like it's going to be Miraidon, Urshifu, Iron Hands, and Farigiraf for Luca versus Landorus, Urshifu, Calyrex, and then either Among Us or Pelipper for Yuta. that's how I'm going to see it, guys. That's how I see this fight going. Once again, the VGC is going to be the last portion of the day. They're going to be going last in the entire series. So it's going to be quite a while till late into the afternoon until we actually see what these guys fight. But that's going to be a prediction for you all on what's going to be entailing for the World Finals for the F6. We're not playing FF6 today. We're playing Pokemon today for the World Championships 2024 in Honolulu. That's how I see it playing out, at least. All right, guys. Well, once again, I am Saberwolf. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and follow. And yeah, I'll get some more tips out there for you in the future for any kind of these games events. I try to break down the content, and I'm usually right, like 80% of the time, what these players are going to pick and what they're doing, because I analyze this stuff, I break this stuff down. This is kind of what I do, and I'm usually right on what's going to end up happening. So once again, I am Saverworld. Be sure to follow me on twitch.tv/Saverworld Gaming, 2M's Gaming, and also youtube.com/Saverworld Team with a cut down version of gameplay live. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye.